Wata iskaashatada dadka madii wada jirka shaqeeya hanuun faylii gaantam shirees walna maqabata markuu galnyana wada jira walka gooyaan dadna madii wada jir iskala shaqeeya walna suubsado koraan iskaashata saasani kasbiidi
I think co-ops are uniquely, and employee-owned businesses are uniquely well adept to help businesses transition from generation to generation. And I think for Maine in particular, that's a huge, huge problem that we have to solve.
I'm not afraid I can remove myself if I have to, that things will still run pretty smooth. And so there's that investment in the next generation and from them to show that they can have the ability to do it. A lot of pride with that.
yaa lagu ogaana wixii asaga ahay nin haynina ku soo dara oo kor ku qaada dhaqaalaha kor u qaadaysa waxbarashada kor u qaadaysa bas Isukenka kor u qaadaysa isdhaxgalka isfahanka kor u qaadaysa wax kasto yaa laga helaa hadda maanta
There's just a huge amount of plant material here that's just amazing when you think about it. There's practical aspects to it, but the magic is still what's in the seed itself.
More and more food cooperatives are looking at how can we get more local food on our shelves, or how can we buy more from immigrant-owned farmers and get ethnic crops onto our shelves. And so it's cooperatives are really looking at not only how do we grow or how do we create new cooperatives, but how do we really live our values as businesses and really transform the economy in the state.
Newark's cooperative buys seed from Fedco, and once they get to us, they might get distributed out to, say, the Blue Hill Co-op, the Portland Food Co-op, Rising Tide Co-op. So there is a world that exists where we can have cooperatives in every facet of the food system.
We wanted to open a 4,000 square foot, $1.3 million business, and I was like, how can this small group of people actually make that happen? And just over the last 8 years now that I've been, watching it happen and realizing when people join together, really amazing things can happen.
noolan koowad kolay noolu kooni beerle tale malay hayn kurilan geelay korti sarlay fuulid agtiwaba wala la kuno wad ulka bahiyo markii beertana isbeeraysan laga ana 7 years jir aaday beertareena isiidi yaa ka isiyan ee ka dhawna beeray suubiyay aaday yaa ka beera suusraay
هذن فقاي هذن بيجي هذن بردم بردم ما ولا سائل إنسان هيك قدار فريش أمور هاينا هذا كمان كذا ما يقدر يسوي أنت بدينا أنت بتير كأنت أو بتير بحاجة أنت قدار إني أول أمور مهم.
People now have a place to go where there's vegetables and they don't have to go to stores. They have farmers markets and there's not a lot of farmers, and it's good that there's farms growing in Lewiston. We were just getting the land evened out, which we did already. So we're going to build one of these. There's going to be 1, 2, 3. There's going to be 4 of these built. the end of the season.
may waaye iskaashatada eeda aan faylata isgarab roogsashada iskaalmaysashada eeda aan faylata fikri badan la iska darsadee lamalba fikirkood leeye iska fikirka darsadahayna markaan walwalba may waa hadal laha aruuri fikir madii la hadal la aruuri lay
I'm happy that my mom is a part of it, and I'm a part of it too. So, yeah.
guri beertan hool beertan min suubsanta guri ka suubsano hoolka dhaqanna iyo diyaaran anna
As a kid in Cape Porpoise, it was just a summer job. And I just, you talk with anybody that goes fishing, you fall in love with it, and you're almost sucked in, if you know what I mean. And then it just becomes a way of life.
Boat's name is Miss Ann. Named it after both my grandparents. My grandmother was Ann. My great-grandmother was Ann. My great-grandmother was the one who started the Cod Inn originally before Luke's leased it from us.
The history of this dock is back in the 70s. My family moved up here from southern Maine, from the Cape Porpoise, Kennebunkport area. We always went fishing and such down that way. Bought the property, went ground fishing, shrimping, scalloping, lobstering, of course, and just it's been in the family for whatever that is, 40, 50 years now. And we went back and forth between selling it and what could we do to hang on to it, and that's where the co-op idea came up.
Locally owned wharves, once they go out of local hands, they never come back. Once the fishermen lose ownership, they never comes back to the fishermen. I reached out to Luke Holden, and long story short, Luke and myself and mostly the fishermen here in Tenants Harbor got together, and over the course of the winter of 2016 had a number of different discussions around the formation of a co-op and what it would look like to have a vertically integrated co-op with our buyer, who is Luke's Lobster, and got the co-op formed in about 4 months.
Now we're donating a crate to the local fire department.
Thank you so much, Bill.
No problem.
You have a group of guys, a group of fishermen that are kind of interested in the same thing that you are, and that would be maybe bringing a better product in because you own it more, so to speak, versus if you fish for a private person, you may just, once they're off your boat, you don't care. So we have an ownership all the way through, and we're vertically integrated with Luke's Lobster, which is probably pretty unique on the coast of Maine. So we know who our lobsters go to, we know what he does with them, and his company is very much into sustainability, the best product he can put out, and so on. So we're sort of hand in hand.
I bought a bunch of scallops off of our lobstermen who also scallop fish in the winter. So we bought scallops off the guys. We've, flash froze them, and we've been selling those all summer. And it's really neat to be able to stand up there and tell your customers, yeah, I bought these scallops were landed right on this wharf during scallop season. And we did the same thing with halibut. I really, really enjoy having that engagement with customers and being able to share that story.
For the most part, I already knew everyone at the co-op for about 28 years before I became a member of the co-op. They're all my uncle's family. They're all cousins. I think the more people you have coming up and over the dock, the better relationships you're going to have with people, you know.
Succession planning for farms, for fishermen, for commercially owned wharves. Co-ops can play a really powerful role in that succession planning, and with our aging population in Maine, that's key to the success and keeping some of these smaller, more rural economies vibrant.
You get to be a certain age and you think maybe a little bit about legacy. You know, maybe it's something that we started, 3 or 4 years ago, that fishermen a generation or 2 generations down the road will appreciate it. Appreciate having the dock here, appreciate having the co-op here, what it can be for them.
There are so many people who come to our farm and tell us that if I ever die and come back as a cow, this is the farm I want to be on. That's why we do what we do.
Back when I was, probably 2 or 3 years old, I could stand up, put a milking machine on here in this barn, and to see the old photos of me on my little pedal tractor here in the front dooryard has a lot of heartfelt memories to get it where it is today. And so a lot of dedication.
My great-grandfather bought the property in the 1950s. The only buildings that were here were the 2 old barns and the house. They milked 50 or so jerseys in the old barn until they built the complex behind me in the 70s.
In a meeting like today, there's a lot of discussion on some new directions the co-op might be looking at going. So co-op encourages all the members to voice their opinion and inputs. The more people that are part of the process and going to the future, the better everything will come out for everybody.
So I just want to give you an update a little bit on some of the stuff that we've been doing. Obviously, it was a really busy legislative season.
It's really hard, especially in this industry, to try to find a market for your milk. And also, legislatively, anything that you want to do, you really need to be a part of a cooperative to help you negotiate those things.
By being part of Agrimart, you can concentrate more on what you need to concentrate on your farming business, and they can concentrate more on the marketing of the products.
Well, everywhere you go, people are saying, "Oh, Cabot, I love that cheese." So, it's something that you can be proud of, very proud of, as dairy farmers.
It's a really rewarding experience to be able to see these animals born, raise them from birth, see them have their first calf, their second calf, their third calf, and just live out their life here on the farm with us taking care of them. Some of that milk ends up going to Gifford's Ice Cream, which is about 7 miles from us, and of course Cabot cheese.
Glad to hear the next generation come around and laughing and playing and getting in trouble like we had when we were younger. And, I guess you call it a legacy, a family legacy that continues on.
I feel very confident in our market. Agrimart provides a good home for our milk, and I see it as a very strong cooperative with a very positive future. And as long as we can keep things tightened up on the farm, I think that it will be here for years to come.
You know, lots of people, and I'm sure you guys are aware of this, don't know what a process it takes to get food.
Bigger machine just comes through here with a comb.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure
It
doesn't
grows
happen.
right in the can or right in the pan.
Everything from obesity to overweight and diabetes. When that moved from adults coming down with diabetes to kids coming down with diabetes, there was a whole new urge around how can we make food better in schools and in institutions. And that's really where I started out 20 years ago, working with local foods. As a team, we kind of have looked at every new study that comes along being, let's stop studying it and let's go do something. So that's really where we went. And when we looked at the University of Maine system, we laid out a plan of here's how we would go do this and buy 20% in the first year from local farms.
A couple weeks ago, on Tuesday, we picked 350 pounds of cucumbers and brought them to 4 different places in Lewiston and the Auburn area. So we picked a lot of vegetables that would otherwise be on the ground rotting.
Sweet question.
We grow a lot of plums and turn them into sauce and can it.
I mean, I grow full-size tomatoes, but I've never been a big fan of cherries.
Today's event out here at Whiting Farm was really to get school nutrition staff out on a farm to see what that's like. They know what the kitchen's like. Here's a chance to see what the farm is like and how those products are going to look different than the products coming in from the commercial market.
Do they taste different?
Yummy.
They do.
They
do?
intaas meesha oo shay kasta iskugu geynayna wax laga suubinayna flower waay soo maaha flowerka burmo flower waay flowerka horta hore la qasa alla sameeyna la bilaarina wax yar la ku kulayna asagaas intaas oo cunto shay iskugu geyna ku jikana lagu dara bajigaas lagu dara kan kale bajiga kali leeyahay digirta baradhaha maanta cuntadaas iyada oo inta aan keenay intaas ku jirta beerto unaga tabcane tun yurudan ka soo gadne aan ka gadnaa to Calvitani community aan ka gadnaa scan group hadaan nahay.
Particularly what our purpose is really to involve as many people as possible. Also our cooperative is really integrated in using and working with other cooperatives in those areas that we're doing, either it be in institutional markets, agritourism events, or other types of sessions that we might hold throughout the state. For example, we're going to do Bike Maine after this, and we're very fortunate because Isuken Co-op is going to be there. We're going to be working with Rock City Coffee Co-op, and I think there's one or two others. Oh, Tenants Harbor Lobster Co-op, so we got them involved in the mix now too.
iskaashatada waxa communityada oo faa'iideyn howlo badan oo far kaligeed hal ruux aan sameeyna karin yaa intaas ruux markay isku darsato sheegi fudeed ahaan loo dareema waa to horaan u soo socotay oo horaan wadankayna oo soo sameeynayna hadda wax meel kasta oo tagayna waxa way intay noolo barto Isuken group.
I love that we don't have a loading dock in the back of our store, that all of our food comes in through the front doors. These are your food producers coming in through our front doors every day. Yes, we are a grocery store. We're a grocery store with a mission, but we're also a community. energy for the Portland Food Co-op started around 2006. Our original core membership got together and decided that they wanted to open a cooperative grocery store here in Portland, and one that was dedicated to local foods and the local economy.
Finally found this place, and it's such a gem. The way that they label everything, it's local, it's organic, telling you where it's from, all the farms. And something that's really amazing that they do is the food stamp program and it's just an incredible thing to be able to offer people, and being able to encourage that if you buy locally, you then get credit for fresh, beautiful local produce. And I just think that's an incredible thing for them to do, and it supports the farms as well, and it gives access for people to have the most beautiful, fresh food that Maine has to offer.
Food security or food access, I think, is one of the biggest issues that food co-ops are sort of wrestling with right now. Because there are a lot of people who can't afford good quality food, and it's an unfortunate result of the structure of our food system that good quality food is not subsidized the way processed food is, so it is much more expensive. And it's something that we're all wrestling with. How do we change that system? It's a question that goes beyond us at individual co-ops, but it's something that we as a movement really need to get together and address.
It's like a big opportunity to like show other people like what we're growing and how we're helping our community, and like it's really warming heart to see other people buy like stuff from us and see it as like beautiful, and like I cherish what people say and compliment.
Hopefully we can have a larger impact on the larger food economy and the types of subsidies that different organizations get, and how much big agriculture gets subsidized in a way that small farmers would never get subsidized, at least not under our current system. But making people aware that those bigger issues, that's sort of the fundamental problem with our food system, and the more that we can let people know about that, and that's what co-ops really are all about. We as individuals maybe don't have a lot of power, but you start getting 100, 200, in our case 4,900 together, we start achieving a scale that we actually have a common voice together, and we can start acting collaboratively.
One really cool thing about working here for me has been actually learning, especially in relation to produce, about what can be cultivated in the state of Maine. And that kind of yields the possibility for a food system in the future that does mainly come from local sources.
All these different models are really building the power of individuals, building the power of small-scale farms and businesses. And in a worker cooperative, it's building the power of those workers to have a voice in the business that they work in. And whether it's a restaurant or a food truck like Isuken Co-op, where they're working together, or a seed company like Fedco Seeds, where those workers have a voice in how that business is run. We are practicing democracy in our economy through creating cooperatives in our food system.
It's about twice the size of a broccoli seed, and the broccoli seed can make this big bushy plant that's 3 feet tall, and it's huge, yeah. The stuff you get out of it, and the fact that that's all that magic is hidden in there is just one of the miracles.